So welcome back. Let's just pick it up. So what I need to build this ribbon rig is a NURBS plane that goes from the entire length of the chain. So I'm going to hide my geometry for a second, and you could just create a NURBS plane from the modeling menu. Sorry, from the main menu, NURBS plane like so, and then just skin it or scale it up and move it into position. But I like to be a little bit more exact, so I'm going to create a curve tool, CV curve tool, and just hold down my V key and point at the start and the end of the joints, and we'll just rebuild that curve and make sure it's a 4-degree curve, and I can't do that because I haven't got enough points, so let's do that again. Let's do a CV curve tool. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I'm just going to rebuild it. This isn't going to do anything other than reparameterize it, which means its values are going to be normalized to 0 to 1 for the length of the curve, like so. Let's just move it 25 units in Z, and negative 25 in the other Z, so I've just duplicated it and copied it. I've moved it in the opposite direction, so I've got 2 NURBS curves now. And now from the modeling menu, under the surfaces option, I'm going to loft a NURBS curve, just like so. NURBS surface, just like so. So let's just clear history, center pivot, and freeze transformations on that. And now I've got a basic NURBS surface in order to skin to set up as my ribbon basis. I don't actually need the curves anymore, so we can remove those. So in fact, let's just rotate this so we can see it a little bit better. Here we go. Okay, so let's create the basis of the ribbon setup, which uses follicles. Anybody that's ever sort of been involved with the effects side of Maya before will probably understand what follicles are, but effectively they're transformation nodes that will attach themselves to polygon or NURBS or subdivision geometry. They were first invented for use with Maya's hair system, and they still are used very much with that. But riggers soon sort of found out that they had many more uses than just for hair systems. So I'm just going to jump to the rigging, to the effects context here, and follicles are now part of the N-hair system, the nucleus system inside of Maya. So I'm selecting my lofted surface, my NURBS surface, clicking on the N-hair, and I'm going to hit create hair, but hit the option box. And now we've got some options here. Just reset them. By default, you'll probably see that it says paint effects, which means it's going to create paint effects curves for everything, which we don't want. I actually want to just create NURBS curves. I'm actually going to remove the NURBS curves after this, but for the moment, we'll just use NURBS curves. Now we've got a U count and a V count. That means how many follicles is it going to create along the U and V parameter of this NURBS surface. Now the V parameter will be the cross section, and I only want one follicle on there, as in one follicle across each cross section. But the V section, the U section, I want to have the same amount of follicles as there are joints. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 joints. So let's set that from 8 to 13. And let's enable edge bounded, which means it will distribute them across the entire range and not from the start to the end. And make sure you've got equalize as well, so they're all equally spaced. And if you click create hairs, now it might not look like anything's happened, but in your outline you should see a few extra nodes. The hair system, hair follicles, and output curves. And if you click on each one of these output curves, and we'll just highlight them all and select them, you can see we've got a NURBS curve at every single position along the joint. Now I said earlier on we don't actually want the NURBS curves, so I'm going to take those NURBS curves and remove them. And I'm also going to remove the hair system, because we're not actually going to have an active simulation here. What I'm interested in is this, the hair system 1 follicles. And if you expand this node, you should see these lofted surface follicle nodes. These are follicles. If you select them all and display their local rotational axes, you can see that each one sits on the NURB surface at the exact same point of where the joint is. So if I move the lofted surface now, it moves along with it. So now I can use these positions to drive my original skin joints. So let's just take each joint and parent it under its respective follicule. Just like so. So there's the second to last one, and then there's the last one. So every single joint that's skinned to the original towel is now parented under its respective follicule. So if I unhide the towel, it's not going to do anything at the moment, but if I move the lofted surface now, it should move the entire tail. So that's the basis of the ribbon setup, and in the next lesson I'll create some controls and joints to be able to deform it. So see you then.